Okay, this is a very short video on how to adjust a photograph after you've taken a picture of it in the Lightbox. As you can see, the background in this one has like a wrinkle in it. Maybe that happens to you. Definitely has information that I don't really want in my final image, and it's a really big file. So I want to scale it down. So just going to clean it up a little bit. The light conditions in that box means that you don't have to worry about adjusting the brightness or anything, but you can always play with that if you don't like the way it looks. So I'm going to make sure I have my layers window open. I always have a layers window open, and then I'll open other windows as I need to. So the first thing that I'm going to do is change the image size. We talked about this in class, but I'm going to bring the resolution up to 300, and if I don't change the scale, it's going to be a really massive file. 42 inches wide is way too wide, so I'm going to really scale it down to about 10 inches, which means it's 10 by 13 right now, and it went from being a really massive file to something that I can work with. So I'll click OK, and it looks exactly the same because I raised the resolution and lowered the size. The next thing that I'm going to do is use guides. So the ruler around the outside hides guides, meaning if I click and drag on it, it'll pull one down, and I can use that to make sure I'm cropping the area I want to. If you don't have that ruler visible, you would go to View, Rulers, and make sure it's on. And you can also just hit Command R on your keyboard to view rulers. So I'm thinking I'm going to bring it down, and cropping it before I fix that background means that I don't have to spend my time fixing things that aren't going to be in the final image anyway. So like I don't have to clean that up if it's missing, and I don't have to clean up the wrinkle as much because it's not in there. So if I wanted it to be a square image, obviously I would bring it up a little bit more and do that. So I'm going to go back to what it was. This shouldn't happen to you if you have a good seamless piece of white paper in the background. So after I check it that way, I'm going to go to my crop tool here and then just crop it by selecting that area and then hitting enter on the keyboard. Okay. And then I'm done with those guides, so I'm going to go to View, Clear Guides, and you can see what you're left with. I definitely do not want this information in here, but if I cropped it away, I would also crop away part of the orange. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to copy it away, and I'm going to do, there's a few different ways you can do this, but I'm going to do a stamp tool just so you can see what that looks like. So I'm hitting S on my keyboard so I can find it. Here it is. The stamp tool, clone stamp, and basically it works with a certain brush size and the option key on your keyboard. So when I hit the option key, it gives me like a crosshair. I clicked on the image and then I move over to the area that I want to copy it to, and it basically allows me to just continue what's already there. And if the brush size is too small or too big, you can adjust it up here and see where the sizes are. There are other ways to adjust it, but that's the most basic one. So I'm going to hit my option key again and have a new starting point, and then come over and do that. Option key again, new starting point, and just get this little section out of the way. So that is a very easy way to copy that area. And you can also go in and like copy away little blemishes, but the next way I'm going to show you how to do that is like a spot healing brush. And so instead of me selecting an area and copying, it basically takes the information that's in the circle. I'm going to make a bigger brush size. It takes that information and decides that based on everything around it, that's probably a mistake. So it cleans it up really nicely, and it also doesn't leave any like correction streaks if you do it a little bit by a little bit. Okay, so I can go into the actual image to do that, but again, I feel like if you use the right kind of background, you shouldn't have to spend your time doing this. I'm gonna make this bigger and Clean that up here. Don't use a big brush to get it done quickly because it'll show you what it'll do. There we go. Let me get this area. You'll see what's going to happen. Just going to warp everything in that area. So you really do have to use a light touch. Doing that. And so on and so forth. So I'm not going to finish the whole thing, but that'll give you the idea. This is before this side, and this is after. The only other thing I would probably do to this image is adjust the shadowing in the background, see if I can make it a little less gray. So I'm going to go to Image, Adjustment. Let's do Levels. So Levels basically lets me, by using the triangle on the right, it adjusts the lightest part to lighter. And then if I wanted to use a triangle on the left, it adjusts the darkest part to darker. Oh, see, it's distorting it. So I just want the lightest part to lighter. So before and then after. And I usually don't go beyond the area where that, it's called a histogram, starts. If I move this, it kind of goes duller. If I go this, it kind of loses opacity. So it's usually this area that I'm just adjusting. Okay, and remember that was gray paper in the background, so it's holding on to that gray feeling. So white paper should be a more neutral ground for you. After that, if it was totally done with all of the corrections you need, you can then just save the file. Okay, end of recording.